Have you ever wanted to write a story but didn't know how to structure it? No. Well, let's learn about it anyway. The system we're going to talk about is Hero's Journey. This story structure goes as followed. Wonderful.
You're doing it anyway.
First is the call to adventure. This is the opening and/or the thing that first introduces your audience to the world. It is most commonly where the problem is introduced. Oh, it's one of these things. 2. Refusal and acceptance of the call. Though not necessary, this is when your character doesn't want to partake on the adventurous story you have planned, but ends up going either because they eventually choose to or they had no choice. 3. Tests. It wouldn't be a good story if they didn't have tests or challenges, so this essentially is your rising action. This is also where your character starts their growth. Can you please stop using me as the example? 4. Temptations, followed by the abyss. Excuse me, did you say abyss? Ah! The abyss is your character's lowest moment, where they have to learn their lesson and come to terms with their problem. 5. We have rebirth and transformation. This is essentially when your character learns their lesson and decides to change. 6 is return, followed by 7, which is impact. What is the point of the story if in the end nothing is changed? That is why the return is followed by impact. Another way you can start your story, though, is by throwing them into the action as soon as possible. Oh no. Or you can start the story in the action and backtrack, or in other words, build the story as you go. Another technique would be to have your character in trouble, but everything that they do makes it worse, creating a sense of hopelessness. Now, here are a few extra tips for the actual writing process. I'm free! If you want to make your audience feel emotions when you're writing, you first and foremost need to have relatable characters. Make sure you're careful with your word choices and show the effects of their decisions. Something you can do is build up the intensity so they have a greater impact. For example, when writing a sad moment, usually you want there to be a sense of injustice so that it doesn't come as something that they deserved. And my last tip will be for pacing. You can add a lot of detail to slow things down on important moments. For example, an action sequence wouldn't be the best place for your character to monologue. Rather, have a faster pace to keep the fight moving and save the monologue for the aftermath. And don't always assume that fast is good. Look for what's necessary to include and what you can leave out. Okay, do you understand now? I never asked.